So it was a lot of information that we took in. Some of it good, some of it kind of makes us feel a little concerned. But I wanted you guys to think about this: something that we've been talking about for at least a few years now, and obviously we've escalated this as Trump and Bobby Kennedy have come out and talked about make America healthy again. You guys know my position on make Alpha healthy again. Each one of you guys have adopted that, and with that, you guys have given me a flood of emails, DMs. Some of you that have gotten my cell phone number, weirdos, don't know how you did that, but you guys have communicated to me these concerns that you have. You know, I do my best to bring people on that can help us with that information. So with that, we have a social media guru when it comes to the truth, a face we haven't seen here on the Alpha Warrior Show before, but hopefully it's one that we see a little more often. So with that, what I want to welcome to the stage is my man, Trent. Thank you for joining us, brother. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, Alpha. Thanks for having me on your show. Really excited to be here.
Good. All right. So tell me, what do you have for us? There's something, you're probably going to see me sipping on it right now as we talk, that people need to be like, oh, I've heard of this, but maybe I need a little bit more. Maybe I need a little push. So the floor is yours, brother. Talk to me.
Thanks so much, Alpha. So yeah, I mean, over the last few years, I've been making content on social media, just talking about the metabolic health crisis that we have here in America. It is a big, big problem. It is extended into my own family. My dad, my hero, the man that I just aspired to become more like, a few years back, died from stage 4 colon cancer. Now, before my dad got sick, he had pre-diabetes, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, psoriasis all over his body. He struggled with weight control most of my life. And my dad was on every single drug under the sun. Right? All these different drugs that he was on, each one of them had different side effects. And one of the side effects of some of the drugs he was taking was colon cancer. And so my dad is now dead. And my kids don't know their grandpa, and he didn't know them, right? Which is just a tragedy. And this is happening more and more. And, I'm going to share my screen here for a second. If you had any question who was running this country, I don't think that the question will remain anymore. So there's 270 million American adults, right?
Can I interrupt you just for 1 second, Trent?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Just because it's important, because it's something that you shared with us regarding your father. For my audience knows, just a few nights ago, I get a text message from my little brother, and he lets me know that our little cousin, she's very young. I'm 46. She's much younger than me. Her husband of 19 years just passed away. And this thing is, there's a lot that's leading to people dealing with these things, but I just want you to know that it's like this just hit home very recently for me, because she's a sweetheart, and her husband was a great guy, and they have kids. He still has a mom. Like, there's so much hurt in this family because of something that you experienced as well. And I just wanted to remind my audience, like, I just shared this with you guys a few nights ago, but please, my apologies for interrupting, Trent. I just wanted to remind people
that was timely, and I'm so sorry for your loss. This is coming after you, whether you believe it or not. I mean, most people feel like they are pretty healthy, and then they go do their blood work and they find out that there's a completely different story. In the U.S., there are 270 million American adults. Just think about this for a second, okay? 47 million of them, 47 million, are now taking statin drugs for lowering their cholesterol. 47 million. If you obviously have a show, if you could get 1% of the adult population on your show every week, that would be 2.7 million Americans. That would be a really good turnout, right? 47 million, so 10 times that, more than 10 times that, are taking a statin drug every day. Drugs like Crestor and Lipitor, for example. There's another 60 million or more on high blood pressure medications, drugs like lisinopril. There's 30 plus million at least on blood sugar medications like metformin. There's another 30 million plus, and this is going up every day, on GLP-1s, Ozempic, and other injectables. There are 30 to 40 million more on anxiety and depression medications. And by the way, the age group for this tranche is getting younger and younger. You've got young teenagers now on anxiety and depression medications. So if you look at that list, we're just getting started. I mean, we haven't mentioned any of the autoimmune diseases. We haven't mentioned the thyroid medications, right? if you just look at this, and there's certainly some overlap where some people are on more than one drug, but what is it? 200 million American adults that are now living on drugs every single day. Now, we know one thing is true, that none of these drugs actually solve the underlying root cause of the problems. They just treat the symptoms. And so once you go on one of these drugs, you're on it forever. And if you come off it, well, there's going to be a rude awakening, right? So for example, when somebody goes on a drug like metformin, they start on 500 milligrams, then they go to 1,000 milligrams, then 2,000 milligrams, then they're on metformin and insulin, right? For the rest of their lives. And, I hate to do this, but if you look at the COVID vaccine, there's another 255 million, over 75% of American adults were vaccinated, right? It was just like, people felt basically forced to get this vaccine, right? Basically forced to become a pharmaceutical company or pharmaceutical customer, excuse me. And so one question is, why are we getting all the high blood pressure, high blood sugar, obesity, irritable bowel syndrome, anxiety, depression, right? Because nobody wants to do business with the pharmaceutical companies. It's not like anybody woke up today and said, man, I'd love me some metformin, right? No, people do this because they're so desperate, they feel they have no other choice. And so why we're on your program today is to tell your audience and tell the world that there is an alternative. There is another choice. And as long as we continue to enable the pharmaceutical companies to run this country and to, turn us into lifelong customers, they're going to gladly keep taking our money. And
to that point, Trent,
yeah.
when I read these emails or these DMs that come in, I can hear people's anxiety in their messaging. And one of the things when I first started this show back in 2021, and I started to have people on, like, I had Dr. Peter Mercola, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, and Dr. Judy Mikovits. The more, what I realized is more of these doctors I had on, the more these emails flooded. And then it was a very hard place for me in my life, because this was not something that I ever imagined I'd be doing, to figure how do you triage and pick which email you're going to send? Because you can't send every email to them. So it's like you're sitting there and you're trying to decide what story is more valuable than the other. And it's that you used a word, you said it was like they're desperate. And you could hear that. You can hear that in there. And Big Pharma has capitalized on that for decades, knowing that people are in search of something that's going to help them. And all they do is like you said, they give something that's going to treat the symptom, that's going to create another symptom, never with the intentions to heal them. And this has turned into like a deadly loop for people. But I'll give it back to you.
This great commentary there. And I want to be clear as I show you what I'm going to show you next. If you're on this list, then certainly this message should resonate with you. Our message definitely resonates with people that are sick or on medications or unhappy with their health. But our message also really resonates with people who are healthy, who prioritize their health, people who love wellness and longevity, right? And so when, Vladdy Guerrero Jr., who's one of the best players in Major League Baseball, when he fell out of shape during the offseason, it's what I'm about to show. This is what he used to get back into shape. When Zach Bitter crushed the 100-mile world record, he used this. When Mike Saunders, who's a competitive powerlifter, broke all the powerlifting records that he broke, he used this. And so this speaks to both those that are struggling with their health and those who really prioritize their health and want to live long, quality lives, right? So there's a problem that most people don't know about. In fact, there's two of them. And I'm just going to quickly explain them. One is a problem called insulin resistance. This is the underlying driver of the obesity, the fatty liver, diabetes, Alzheimer's, dementia, even migraine headaches often come from insulin resistance. So if you suffer from migraines, you're going to love this. Heart disease, the number one killer in the world. PCOS, the number one cause of infertility in women. Most of these problems are either directly or indirectly caused by this problem known as insulin resistance. And most American adults could not tell you what insulin resistance is if you put a gun to their head. And so this problem is the leaky pipe in your basement that you don't know about that is destroying the value of your home. This is destroying the quality of your life. And if you can address it, if you can fix that leaky pipe, things can get better really, really fast. So this would be bad guy number one. Bad guy number two would be gut dysbiosis. Okay. So when the human gut, when our gut becomes damaged, it hijacks our health. Hippocrates said, thousands of years ago that all disease begins in the gut. And man, was he ever prophetic about that. And so this gut dysbiosis, when you have a damaged gut, it leads to cardiovascular problems, skin problems, psoriasis, acne, eczema. It leads to all the depression and anxiety. When you have irritable bowel syndrome, you almost always end up with anxiety or depression. Metabolic problems, all kinds of problems, right? So some real easy indicators to see if you have this problem of insulin resistance is if you have skin tags around your neck or on your face, in your elbow, in your armpits, or in your groin area, any skin tags, that would be a just clear-cut sign that you have a serious amount of insulin resistance. If you have the darker pigmentation around your collar or under armpits or on your elbows or maybe your knuckles or face, that darker pigmentation is called acanthosis nigricans. It is a sign of advanced insulin resistance. And probably the easiest thing to see is this protruding belly. So a protruding belly. Now, everybody's got fat on their body. Even bodybuilders have some fat. Everybody should be able to grab their love handle. And if you search, you can find some love handle there, right? That love handle fat, that soft, jiggly fat is known as subcutaneous fat. That is not the dangerous fat. Everybody has that. You have to have some fat. But the firm, hard belly fat that causes a protruding belly, even if you have a small protruding belly, if it's a protruding belly with that hard visceral fat, that is the number one risk factor for insulin resistance. And if you've got that, then you've got a big problem. Some things you can't see: cravings for sugary, salty foods, constant hunger, an inability to lose weight, migraine headaches, skin problems. We talked about the skin tags for women. If you get a little bit of facial hair under the neck or on the upper lip, this facial hair is called hirsutism, and that's often associated with PCOS, but that would be a sign of severe insulin resistance. I'm going to speed through some of this because I want to be mindful of our time. In the United States, there's at least 100 million American adults that are either pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic. That is almost synonymous with insulin resistance. 90% of the people with these problems do not know that they have them. Let's talk about why everybody's getting sick real fast. So everybody is familiar with the picture on the right? White rice. Everybody's had it. It's a food staple. It's a food staple in China. It's a food staple in Mexico, in India. What wild rice looks like in nature, the way God made it, is over there on the left. That's what rice really looks like. And so around every single grain of rice is something called the bran. That outside bran is the fiber part of the plant. The white part is like the cake part of the plant. That white part is pure sugar. It's a starch. It turns into glucose in your body. And so when you eat white rice, you're eating the cake part of the plant. And that fiber, that bran, is what's there to protect your body from the cake, to protect your body from that sugar that's in the white part of the rice, right? But what food makers have done is we take out all the bran and we only eat the white stuff. And this is why 50% of Chinese adults in China are now pre-diabetic. It is the diabetes capital of the world. What's the second diabetes capital of the world? Well, India, right? And it's now hitting the Latino population. It's hitting the Middle Easterners. It's hitting us right here. This is what wheat looks like in nature. When a food maker takes the wheat and they strip out all the fiber, you end up with a processed product like that loaf of white bread. That is cake. Every sugar, every carbohydrate in nature, there is not an exception, comes packaged in fiber. When God decided to make sugar, he said, you know what? We better package this stuff in fiber so that we don't create a population full of diabetes and obesity. And so this apple is basically sugar, water, and fiber. When you remove the fiber, you're left with a glass of sugar water. Even sugar itself in nature comes packaged in fiber. Now, if we just look up the government's own website on this, the CDC's website, let's just read this. Health benefits of fiber. If you have diabetes or pre-diabetes, fiber is your friend because it helps with blood sugar control and weight management. It can also lower your risk of heart disease and some cancers. That's interesting. Knowing that, why is fiber being stripped out of everything we're eating? Why are food makers processing food? What is the process of processing food? It's the process of removing the fiber from the food. What's the number one killer in the world? Heart disease. What's the number 2 killer in the world? Cancer. Okay, so why are we taking the fiber out? To speed up here, fiber is what controls your blood sugar. It protects your body from blood sugar and insulin spikes. It protects your heart from triglycerides and cholesterol. It is what maintains a healthy gut. It improves your gut health and digestion. And this is one of the smoking guns, fiber is the thing that keeps you feeling full and helps with weight management. Maybe this is why Big Food likes taking all the fiber out. Because when you remove the fiber from the food, you remove the satiety signal from the food. By removing the satiety signal from the food, you literally, we will eat and eat and eat and never get full. And so when you remove fiber on a population basis from the food supply, you end up with a nation of diabetes, obesity, dysbiosis, mental health problems, irritable bowel syndrome, heart disease. This is where we are today. Right? So this is a huge problem. But what we found is that bringing health back can be as simple as bringing the fiber back. Fiber being stripped out has gotten us sick. When you bring the right types of fiber back, amazing things happen. Also, the processed food diet, when we're eating and snacking all the time, eating and snacking all the time is not the way we were designed. Throughout all of human history, we have lived in an environment of food scarcity. There was not enough food. You had to save it. You had to store it. You had to dig a 30-foot cellar in the ground to keep the food for winter, right? Nowadays, there's a million calories. I'm not exaggerating. There's literally 1 million calories likely in your pantry and refrigerator that is at your fingertips 24/7. When your grandparents came home from school and they asked their parents for a snack, the answer was absolutely not. You will spoil your dinner. And if after dinner they wanted a snack before bed, absolutely not. That'll teach you. You should have eaten your dinner, right? But nowadays, if I deny my kid a snack, somebody could call CPS on me, right? I mean, it's like child cruelty to say no to a snack. And so we're training our bodies to be eating machines. We are grazing all day like a cow, right? And when you eat and graze all day, your blood sugar goes up all day. That's the blue line. And when it's processed, these processed snacks especially, your blood sugar will spike to the moon. So as blood sugar spikes up and down and up and down, insulin, that's the purple line, remains elevated. And that elevated insulin is the problem. That becomes the insulin resistance problem, where our body starts to tune out the insulin. It stops responding to the insulin because insulin is high all the time. So what can we do about it? If we want to take the power back, what can we do about it? Well, there's a science company here in the US that came out with a protocol to address this, okay? And the protocol is basically a fasting protocol, a fiber and fasting protocol. And excuse me, I lost my place. You can actually address this for free. You can do it without buying anything. If you're the type of person that likes to make your own bread and do everything kind of on your own, let me teach you how to DIY it right now. And then if you're the type of person that likes the idea of buying something that will make it really, really easy, I'll explain what you can do. So instead of eating and snacking all day, what we are doing is we're eating 2 meals per day, just 2 meals per day. Most people will eat a lunch and a dinner. And instead of eating and snacking all the time, they will take breaks from food when they're not eating. We call this fasting, right? When we're fasting, it forces our insulin levels down. When insulin levels come down, we become more insulin sensitive. This is the opposite of insulin resistance. Our body, when insulin is low, burns fat like no other. Just remember this little rhyme, okay? When insulin's low, the fat's got to go. When insulin's low, the fat's got to go. If you can force your insulin levels down, your body will burn fat and burn it very effectively. Now, when you're fasting, fasting means fasting. That does not mean, drinking coffee with cream and sugar. It does not mean that you're snacking on just a few almonds instead of a regular meal. We are completely avoiding food. Now, you can drink water. You can drink unsweetened herbal tea or an unsweetened 0-calorie beverage, right? Maybe some sparkling water. But the goal is to avoid the calories, right? Anything more than 10, 15 calories can interrupt or break your fast. Now, before lunch and before dinner, we've got to bring the fiber back. And so if you were, in theory, if you were able to have a garden salad of different veggies and fruits and seeds and herbs, right, before you're going to eat your lunch or dinner, if you just had a little salad before each meal, that fiber would prevent the blood sugar spike. It would prevent the cholesterol and triglyceride craziness. It would control the insulin levels and help you also feel much fuller for longer. And so if you're the type that can do that, I mean, it's unrealistic for me to have a garden salad in my back pocket when I'm eating in my car or at the airport or at a friend's house, or I don't want to say, hey, thanks for the pizza, but could I have a salad first? If that's unrealistic for you, I'll show you what I do. But this right here would be the formula. And I flat out guarantee you that if you start eating and living this way, you'll change your blood work in 90 days. In 90 days, your doctor will be absolutely thrilled with the progress you've made. You'll feel great. You won't have afternoon crashes. It will change everything.
This is freaking phenomenal.
Okay, so thanks, Alpha. All right, we'll wrap up because I know we got to go fast here. So there's a science company in the US that came out with a protocol for this. And the way the protocol works is to make it easy, right? I mean, I'm somebody that has struggled with dietary discipline most of my life. And so if you say, oh, Trent, it's really easy, just start eating more veggies and stop eating and snacking all the time. Well, that may sound simple, but in practice, I know myself. You know, I'll do really good on Monday and kind of good on Tuesday, but by Wednesday, I've fallen off the wagon, right? By the weekend, I mean, it's hog wild and I've got to reset again, right? And so this makes it easy. This is like willpower in a packet for people that struggle with willpower. So when you're fasting, there is something you can sip. It's called Una Mate. And the Una Mate is you've got yours. I love it, Alpha. This Una Mate is something that does not break a fast or raise insulin, but it does turn off the food noise. When I am sipping Una Mate, I can fast forever. I've gone 5+ days with nothing but water and Una Mate. And the Una Mate is just amazing for quieting food noise. It also gives you a nice, healthy energy boost so that you're productive at work instead of feeling hangry and lethargic. No, I mean, you're doing that workout. You're doing that project. You're out there, you know, digging that ditch, right? The Una Mate is just excellent at delivering willpower in a packet. Then before our meals, we have a blend of plant fiber. Now, this blend of plant fiber is going to change the world. This is the only natural, clinically proven, and patented alternative to statin drugs in the physician's desk reference. It often works as well as the statin for cholesterol control or better, but without any medication. This is the only natural, clinically proven, and patented alternative to metformin that I'm aware of in the physician's desk reference. It often works as well or better than metformin for reducing blood sugar and insulin spikes, but with no medication. And because the types of fiber that are in this are the most satiating types of fiber, like guar gum, pectin, beta-glucan, just to name a few, it fills me up. And as somebody who has struggled with overeating my whole life, it makes it so easy to portion control, right? And so it's that simple. The yellow one whenever I'm not eating, the orange one before eating. Yellow one when not eating, orange one before eating. This protocol is the simplest, most natural, effective way to take the power back. And the best thing about it is guaranteed to work for anybody that tries it, and it will pay for itself. Let me explain, okay? This protocol has 20+ clinical studies. It is safe. It is natural. Again, the yellow one when you're not eating, the orange one when it's time to eat. Most people skip a meal. They skip meals like breakfast, let's say, and do 2 meals a day. Well, what do you save on a meal? I can't get a meal from McDonald's for less than $5, right? You're going to save $5 to $10 a day easy just on the meal and the snacks that you're going to skip. And that's going to cover the cost of the protocol because on Alpha Show, you get a discount. Every day, people are buying this protocol on Amazon and direct from the manufacturer, and they're spending about $250 a month. And it is worth every penny. But because you're a guest of Alpha Show, you will never, ever pay that price. You will never pay the price that everybody else pays. Your price will be $159 per month. And you can lock in this price. Anybody you want to share the link with, they will get the same price that you pay. You will never pay the price that everybody else pays. And if you're saving $5 to $10 a day, this is cost neutral. It's literally going to save your waistline will get leaner as your wallet gets fatter on this protocol. Now, you can try it risk-free for 90 days. And if it doesn't deliver everything you're hoping, you can just get a refund. There's absolutely nothing to lose. If you use it properly and are consistent, it will work for you. And but if for any reason you're not satisfied, you could just get a refund. So the website to lock in this pricing is AW, as in Alpha Warrior, awspecial.com. That's AW Special. Yeah, Alpha. awspecial.com. awspecial.com. Sorry, I stuttered there. Now, just a couple quick little success stories, okay? This is my dad. I wish that this protocol would have been something he could be on. He would be alive today if he had had this protocol. I went on this protocol. It was very good for me. I started sharing it with people all over the world, and the results were incredible. This is one of my best buddies, Cody. I've known Cody for 25 years. Cody was on this protocol for I think this is around 8 months on the protocol. It changed his whole life. Now, not only did it get rid of the belly fat and give him his life back in that regard, but Cody's favorite thing about this, for the first time in 13 years, he is having regular bowel movements, right? We underrate how much an unhealthy bowel can hijack somebody's life, right? So his IBS is gone, his insulin resistance is gone, his belly fat's gone, his fatty liver's gone, his anxiety and depression are gone, right? Completely changed his life, and he did it naturally, getting off of medications instead of onto more of them. This is how you break the chains of the pharmaceutical companies. This is how you take the power back. And to be frank and honest, I am so tired of us just taking it laying down, right? We're actually paying for it. We're paying for it, which enables them to continue doing it. This is a chance to break the shackle and to do something for yourself. And like you said, yes, we want to make America healthy again, but I want to make Trent healthy again, right? We start with the one. And so one last little cool thing that we're doing is today only for anybody that orders this protocol, if you order it before July 4th is over, so by Saturday, July 4th, you will be entered into a special drawing, and we're giving away 5 silver bars. These are 1 ounce silver bars for Alpha Show. So if you order by Saturday, July 4th, you'll get entered into a drawing to receive one of the 5 silver bars. We're excited to send these out as a way to say thank you for being a part of this movement and for supporting us. I could go through hundreds and hundreds of testimonials here, people that have changed their life forever. Most of these people say the same thing. This text message on the left: hey, Trent, I just got my results. I went from an A1C 8.0 to a 5.3. My primary doctor said I don't have the diabetes anymore and I can lose the metformin. Abby says, my A1C went from a 7.1 to a 5.7. Matthew says, hey, at 90 days, I was down 34.2 pounds. I have, and I'm not exaggerating, thousands of these messages from people that follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, people reporting their psoriasis is clearing up, their blood sugars are normalizing. This is the best thing that I have ever done for myself, and I hope that your audience will take advantage of this great special. Thank you, Alpha, for my time. I probably overtalked, but I'm so happy to be connecting with your show, and I hope that this blesses a lot of lives.
100%. And you know what? You can't ever overtalk or take up too much time when we're talking about how we're fighting, for our lives. I tell my audience all the time, if I tell you guys to go research something, you'll invest so many hours of research. You'll deprive yourself of sleep. Another major health thing that we're all doing, but we're trying to get that knowledge. But we got to be around for the fight, and I have my adult kids and I have 2 little kids, 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. And I look at them and they're huge motivation to, when I'm tired of this, to be like, I got to make sure that I'm around for them for at least to the point where they make it to young adulthood, to where I know I've taught them enough to sustain themselves. If I'm not here now, who's there for them? You're relying on the love of external family, like with my cousin's husband. Of course, we will be there for his children, but nothing replaces a father. nothing replaces a mom. You know, it's hard to replace grandparents because of that relationship. So I would just tell folks, you know, you hear me say this all the time. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And I know what Trent said, you know, in 90 days, you'll be able to gauge the blood work and all that, and you will. But within a few days, something I experienced and I know has been consistent with friends is you're going to finish drinking this, and then lunchtime is going to come around because by habit, you know, I'm supposed to be doing something right now. That something's eating. You're usually have opened the refrigerator 2 or 3 times already. You've gone to the pantry because you're like, I want to get my salt and vinegar chips. Like you've done that, and you're going to realize I haven't done that. And then what you're going to realize over time is that gap is going to get longer and longer. Trent, it's gone to the point where I have to remind myself, man, I need to have lunch. Like
Gotta go eat something.
it's time for lunch. You broke my heart with the rice because I love rice, but I'm just like, heck no, I got to remove that.
For the rice, right? Bring the fiber back. So the sugar itself is not necessarily the problem. It's the sugar without the fiber. And so when you bring the fiber back, fiber controls that sugar spike. So just, you know, when I'm going to have rice, which I love rice, especially I go have sushi and there's a bunch of rice with the sushi, bang, right? Sometimes I'll even do 2 of these. So don't worry. Enjoy.
There you have it, folks. Again, awspecial.com. That link will be down in the description. You guys get this stuff in before the 4th so you can have a chance to win that raffle and be one of the 5 winners on that Trump 1-ounce coin. If I could get into it, I would, because I want one. With that, you guys just remember, nothing changes if nothing changes. Good night. God bless, and Semper Fi.